Mr. Musk this evening? Either Tesla, Twitter, Tender, I don't know what.
He's the last tycoon, my friend. He gets it.
And therefore, you do what if you're as an investor? Buy Twitter and Tesla?
I'm afraid. Look, I say that. If it goes up, I get hated. If it goes down, I get hated. But I will say that he should get it, and that the Twitter board has to recognize that that stock goes to 32 if he sells the stock, versus 9 up. But I don't know.
Jim Cramer,
locked down.
We'll see you on Squawk on the Street with the gang in just a little bit. And of course, reminder, you can check out Jim's Investing Club. Point your phone at the screen right now, or you can go to cnbc.com/join the club. We're back after this.
Earnings out earlier from Dow component Procter & Gamble, the consumer products giant, reporting profit of $1.33 a share, 4 cents above estimates. Revenue of $19.38 billion, topped the consensus forecast of $18.73 billion. P&G also raising its full-year sales guidance. Let's talk more about the markets and earnings now with Sarat Sethi, managing partner and portfolio manager at DCLA, also a CNBC contributor. Sarat, great to have you with us.
Good morning.
Want to get your take on Procter & Gamble first. I mean, it was a very good quarter on all fronts in terms of the past quarter and the current quarter and the full year outlook. When it comes to price hikes, Procter & Gamble already initiated a round of price hikes that have even yet to take effect, I think, on certain personal care products. And I'm wondering how much more can be powered by that? Can there be additional price hikes and the consumer still keeps buying the product?
So I really think you have to look at the product here, Melissa. So Procter & Gamble has great brands, and that's where they get really the pricing power. And they also are so big that they're able to control their costs in a way that other companies can't do. So with their distribution and their brands and pricing, that's where you really have to be in companies that can have pricing going forward. The consumer is still strong. We know that. You talk to, what Bank of America said, and you look at kind of the balance sheets of the consumer, wages are going up. But the consumer is going to spend where they want to. So that's kind of what our view is. you want to be in this reopening plays. You also want to be where pricing power is. So companies like Delta, I mean, Delta can't even have enough capacity. So when you've got companies that are controlling capacity and have pricing, that's where you want to be, not kind of where we were back in the when we were back in COVID, because that's all that pull through demand is not going to be there anymore. So the market's really bifurcated, and you really want to be kind of where 70% of the economy is, which is the consumer, but careful in that they have, you want where the demand's going to be, not where they've already spent the money.
All right, and P&G, we should know, was up 2% just about on the back of earnings. It's now up just fractionally. Sarat, I want to get your take on Netflix and what that could mean for a company like a Disney. Should we extrapolate the discounted valuation on the streaming service onto Disney's streaming service, for instance?
I really don't think so, because I think Netflix was another example of the pull forward that we had in COVID. A lot of people got, all the streaming services right away. For me, Disney's a complete reopening play. Disney TV, Disney Plus, ESPN, that's kind of all icing on the cake. That's real content that they have with Marvel and a whole bunch of other things. I think as the theme parks open up, as Disney has pricing power again and demand, I mean, there's this whole revenge economy, and Disney stock's reflecting it already. It's not like it's trading at all-time highs and it's coming down. So I think we've always known the companies like Disney, for Disney Plus, they have to execute. They've said that they've got to get, more viewers, but it's also going to be what I think kind of a loop, that people who are going to subscribe to them are going to go to the theme parks, and it's going to be all different types. But I'm not buying Disney because of the streaming service.
Good morning, traders. What's up and what's going on? Happy hump day! Dude, I tell you what, no one yet has typed in a freaking camel inside a chat. Like, what's going on? It's hump day, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Happy 420, guys. Yeah, happy 420. We're gonna trade some stocks today, guys. All right, hold on. All right, yeah, we're gonna blow it up. We're gonna blow up some accounts today, baby. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna make it happen. Happy 420. No, I'm joking. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Hopefully, you guys are having a good morning and that you guys are fired up, ready to rock, and ready to roll. Yeah, Steve's like, ha, loving it. He's like, Steve's over here like, yep, it's one of those days for me. I'm not trading because I am enjoying this wonderful 420, this beautiful holiday. All right, guys, we're just going to dive into it. We're going to hit it straight on the head. We're not going to waste any time. Bear with me. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. I had a scare last night. I was at the hospital all night with my daughter from like 2:33 until like 5. So, again, just bear with me, guys. It was a really, really, really long night. So, again, we're just going to hit it on the head today. We're going to make it happen. We're going to find those opportunities. And if I can get some energy, yeah, I'll definitely express that energy, guys. But right now, I am struggling and I'm dragging you know what, all right? But let's not waste any time, team. Let's dive into it. Again, good morning. What's up, Luxury Trims? What's up, Stock Talk? What's up, Ed? Ladies and gentlemen over on YouTube, good morning. Everybody inside of chat, good morning as well. Yeah, she's fine now. They had to give her like a steroid breathing treatment, some medication. They wanted to do a chest x-ray. Keep her there, make sure that her lungs, it was just really, like, I don't know, swollen, I don't know how to explain, inflamed. She couldn't breathe last night. Yeah, she couldn't breathe, like, whatsoever. So she was struggling big time, and you could tell, like, she couldn't breathe. She was hurting. So we literally, like, 2:30 in the morning, my wife wakes me up in a panic, and I start panicking, and I'm like, all right, yeah, she can't breathe. Like, we need to get her to the hospital. So literally, freaking rushed to the hospital at 2:33 in the morning, and it was scary because she was struggling big time, and you know, yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was scary. Scariest thing that's ever happened in my life. So, but I appreciate you guys. We are all set, ready to rock. We're gonna start diving into our top gainers, and that's exactly what it was. Yeah, that's 100%. Catherine, it was croup, viral infection. It hits some kids differently than others. Some are just a bad cough. Some you can't breathe. And we didn't know what to do. She just had her tonsils and adenoids taken out. She's borderline asthmatic. She had pneumonia a year ago. I don't know. It was just one of those things. I'm like, if she can't breathe, I'm not going to sit here and try home remedies. I'm going to take you to the hospital. You can't breathe. And that's what they say next time if it starts flaring up. Throw her head in the freezer, go into the bathroom, steamy. But if it doesn't help, they say you need to rush her to the hospital because they need to do those steroid breathing treatments and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was croup, whatever it was. But yeah, it was a fun night, scary night. All right, guys, what do we got going on today? Number one stock is ticker IO. All right, so IO currently up 100% today, trading 13 million shares. On average, we trade 3 million, so we have great volume, nice low float stock as well. IO is a stock that has moved in the past, and when it moves, it typically moves. And so why is IO moving in the first place? Well, they secured a 5-year contract with Brunei Shell Petroleum for digital management of marine logistics. Here on IO, announcing and securing that 5-year contract. And we had a big time break and a big time move to the upside. The second we broke that 50-cent level, this thing just screamed, this thing just took on off. I want to break this down real quick. All right, a little bit of an educational breakdown. We know 50 cents is a psychological level. Okay, we know like 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, $1.50, $2. We know we have natural levels of support resistance. We have those psychological levels. But something else I want to point out here as to why it ripped the way it ripped as quick as it did wasn't just because it broke 50 cents, right? What do you guys see on the daily chart? Why did we see this thing rip aggressively the way it ripped after it broke 50 cents? Do you guys see anything else that suggests, you know, why we saw that type of price action, why we saw that type of volume, and why we saw this go from 50 cents to 80 cents within literally 10 to 15 minutes? Does anybody see what I see? It was a gap fill. What do we know about gap levels, right? When we have a gap, there's not a lot of volume traded, right? If you throw a volume profile up, you're going to notice that you have a valley, right? You have a little bit of a valley, a low volume area when these stocks gap up and gap down. So when you start entering these gap levels, the stock can move very rapidly and very fast. So not only was it breaking 50 cents, it was also breaking into this gap level, and we shot straight up to 69 cents. We actually had a little bit more juice left in us. We got that high of 86 cents, but it wasn't just the break of 50. It was also entering into this gap fill level, and we know that these are light volume areas. And if we have light volume areas on the chart, we could see price move quickly through those what we call low volume areas or those valleys, right? So that's a reason, one of the reasons why IO got some action to the upside. Again, we have some really good news. We have great volume. It's number one on the leaderboard. It's up 104%. Nice low float stock. Definitely want to keep this one on watch. Right now, we do have 69 cent support at this point in time. So as long as we hold 69 cents, we can see this back up to 84 cents, right around these highs. And then we can see it up towards around $1 today on IO. All right, so the best support, 69 cents. High day resistance. Over high day, room to $1. Now, if we start cracking below 69 cents, we do have room to fall back down to 50 cents. And if it does start dumping on off back down to 50 cents, you could look to take that for a gap fill strategy, right? It's actually going to be gapping up this morning, right? And if we do start coming back down to fill the gap to the downside, right, today, we could see it come down to that 50 cent level. So number one, below 69 could be a good short to 50. And if it does dump on off to 50, we could see it bounce on up a little bit for a little bit of this gap fill bounce, because we are gapping up above 69 cents. And so if we start to see this day go red, we would start to fill the gap to the downside. And we could see a couple different plays here, right? Either A, shorting this to fill the gap, or B, waiting for it to dump on off, fill the gap at 50 cents, and that's where I would expect to see some buyers move back in for a possible gap fill bounce. So there's definitely a couple different ways that we can trade this, to the short side, to the long side, but right now, as long as we hold 69 cents, we do have some great potential back up to high a day and then $1 on IO. Another stock, I took this trade long this morning. Why did I take this trade long this morning on ALVR? There's a couple things, right? They had an FDA grant, right? So we had good news on ALVR. ALVR has good volume as well. It's trading over 10 times the average volume. So I like that. It's a nice low float stock, and it had a really nice technical setup. Not only was it trying to get a 9 EMA VWAP squeeze formation, it was also setting up to break out of this symmetrical triangle, right? It had this nice little downtrend, uptrend squeeze formation. You also have the 9 EMA VWAP squeeze formation as well. I really like this, and I jumped in at 664 on ALVR with a 7 to 705 target and a 750 target, and my stops were right down here in the 645 level. So we saw that initial break. I thought we had more potential. I mean, look at that volume really increasing. That next 5-minute candle gapped down, and it started to pull back. And I'm like, you know what? I don't like this price action, right? I would expect to see it take on off, get up to 7, maybe break 7, get some action, right? It has the volume, nice low flow stock. It has the setup. The technicals are supporting the trade. This red candle, wasn't really digging it. I actually brought my stop loss up underneath VWAP and underneath that 9 EMA. I went ahead and stopped out at 660. So I was in at 664 with a 645 stop loss. I had a $7 target and a 750 target. Definitely a 2-to-1 setup into first target, and we could have potentially had a 5-to-1 setup into our second target. So the risk reward was there, the setup was there. And what I went ahead and did is I cut this close to break even, as I wasn't really liking the price action at that point in time. And I did the right thing. I could have stayed in the trade and hoped that it reversed, or I could sit here and say, you know what, I don't like what we see. A lot of large upper shadows. It's not doing what I thought it was going to do. So since it's not working the way I thought it was going to work, let me go ahead and just walk away from this to avoid a big loss. And if it sets up, I can always get back in. But if it dumps, at least I'm out. And this thing dumped. I would have been stopped out at 645. I got out at 660. I was able to salvage 15 cents of risk by identifying price action, looking at these upper shadows, right? Understanding the setup, understanding the formation, and what should take place when we see this type of setup, when we see this type of formation. This is not what we wanted to see. So since this wasn't the idea that I had, my thesis, my plan, this was not the setup I was expecting to see take place, I went ahead and got out for a 4-cent loss. So I only have one trade on the day. That was on ALVR. But ALVR is a top stock that I think we should watch, right? We do have 635 support at this point in time here on ALVR. We have a lot of resistance up around 680, right? It had a really hard time breaking 680. So if we do catch an entry down around support for any reason, if it sets up and it starts moving back into the 680s, that's definitely a level you need to take some profits, because we really had a hard time breaking that 680 here over the last probably 30 minutes. Right now, we could see this up towards around 7 and then 705. And then we could see it retest that spiking high up towards around $7.50. Right now, bottom support is $6.35. It has the news, it has the volume, a nice low float stock. Now we just need to sit back and wait for the next best opportunity. Wait for the stock to set on up for us, guys. All right. So we are going to be watching ALVR. Another stock that I want to keep on high watch today. Well, I mean, I did. It was setting up decently. It had this really nice squeeze formation. It was consolidating between our uptrend and our downtrend, but it's failing. And what have we noticed a lot the last couple of days? A lot of really good setups have been failing, right? So we're not seeing the consistency across the board. A lot of really good setups are not playing out. They're not working out. We saw a lot of rug pulls and a lot of dumps yesterday in the market. So be mindful of that, guys. If we're seeing a lot of great setups fail, what do you want to do? Maybe not trade these great setups. And you're like, what do you mean, Josh? It's a great setup. How would I not trade it? All right, you got a point. Maybe reduce your position sizing. Reduce your risk. If you don't like the market conditions and you're not confident, then reduce your risk. If you get stopped out, it's minimal. If you make profit, it's small, but at least it's profit. But if it doesn't work out, at least you're not taking on too much risk, especially when market conditions are kind of right? We've made money in the market. There's been opportunity, but a lot of the opportunity that we've identified has failed. failed to break, failed to move, and we've seen that consistently. So understand the market conditions and trade with the market conditions. What I mean trade with market conditions. If we see A+ setups trying to move and they fail, what can you do? Identify your A+ setup. Look to see if it starts moving. And if it starts failing, maybe look to short the stock, right? I mean, that was our strategy back in November, December. We were shorting every single high a day breakout. Every single stock looking to break high a day would put in one big upper shadow, rug pull, and dump. And we were making so much money to the short side versus chasing these high day breaks, hoping this was the next stock to rip and run. Play with the market, trade with the market and what the market conditions are giving you. And that's what I'm gonna do today. If we see the same things that we saw Monday and Tuesday, if we see these really great setups and they start to fail and we see that nasty price action, I will absolutely look to short these stocks for those nice big rug pulls today. All right, so we do have WINT. It was a stock I wanted to keep on watch, but it is starting to crack this slide uptrend, and we are rolling on over here now at this point in time. WINT is number 2 on the leaderboard. It is currently up 36%, trading 9 million shares. On average, we trade right around 100,000 shares. So we have high relative volume, nice low float stock, gapping up. And it has really good news. They reported positive top line data, right? So that's all you need to take away. They're reporting positive top line data from their study. That is a hot press release. Those are hot keywords to look for in a good press release. And that's why this stock went from 99 cents all the way to 155. It's still a stock that has potential today, but right now it doesn't look the best here in pre-market. Support is back down towards around 115. If we look at the daily chart, you have good support off prior 115 resistance. You could see it bounce at 132. You could see it bounce at the pre-market low of 123. And if it does and it sets up, you know, we'll break it down. We'll get you guys prepared. But looking at the daily chart, the best level to see WINT stay above would be back down at 115. And the strongest level of resistance we have here, guys, is our 200 SMA. Okay, so I know we hit a high of 155. If we break over the high a day, don't expect it to go to 170, 180, $2, as you're going to have a lot of resistance right there at 158, which is our 200 SMA. All right, guys? So keep that in mind. WINT is a stock that has great news, great volume, low float. It's just not doing anything right now in pre-market, and that's really across the board. A lot of good setups, a lot of good stocks, just nothing ripping and running and really holding on up and playing on out the way we would want to see these stocks play on out to really feel good about jumping into a trade. So be smart, be patient, be disciplined, sit on your hands, sit on the sidelines, let the trade come to you. And when your trade comes to you, let's make it happen. Let's lock in those profits. All right. I do like CASA as another top stock today. So number 1, CASA, mid-candle breakout on the daily chart. I'm really liking this daily mid-candle breakout formation. Put this on a 15-minute time frame and go back to Monday. I also like it because we are freaking squeezing. We are getting very, very, very tight in between our downtrend and right off our uptrend as well. So not only do we have this big triangle squeeze formation, right, trying to play on out, we also have that mid-candle breakout. So I'm already looking at it for the daily mid-candle breakout, and now on a higher time frame, we see this really big squeeze formation from Monday that could help get this thing going for the mid-candle breakout as well. So I would say CASA, not a back burner stock, but a top stock to watch right out of the gate. As long as we hold that trend line, you guys are good to the long side. If we crack the trend line, you don't want to be long. You want to think go short down to $6. But as long as that trend line holds and we break that downtrend, this thing could rip back to 691 and then back up possibly to 738. So CASA right now is on high watch for that possible mid-candle breakout and then this big symmetrical triangle squeeze formation. And if it works out, that's definitely going to help get that mid-candle breakout going. There's a lot of opportunity here with CASA today. So again, those are my top stocks that I want to watch today right out of the gate. IO, ALVR, WINT, and CASA. Now, there are some other stocks with news that maybe have potential for today, but again, they're not really doing too much here in pre-market. So CRXT is a stock that was on the back burner, but I'm actually going to go ahead and bring this up to one of our top stocks to watch out of the gate. So right now with CRXT, why is the stock moving this morning here in pre-market? Well, I believe they had news was it last night or yesterday? I posted that one up, that they're presenting new data from one of their studies. All right, so it wasn't like the best press release or anything like that, but when I actually dived into the press release and what they were talking about, it didn't seem all that bad. It actually seemed pretty positive. But they're going to be presenting new data from their study. I'm trying to figure out what the name of the study was. Again, bear with me. My mind is just not working today on 3 hours of sleep. But again, I saw a keyword in there that really hyped me up, but I don't want to spend 10 minutes trying to find it when we already know that this stock has potential. So we have a good press release, decent press release on CRXT. We have decent volume, right? We're trading 5 million shares. On average, we trade 3, so we are above the average volume. And it's the lowest float stock on the leaderboard right now. It's up, the float's 7%, and we're up 20% on CRXT. And the reason I think I like this the most is this slow, steady, healthy pullback, right? We had this nice big rip and run yesterday. It was like a big cup and handle breakout. I mean, huge cup and handle breakout, nice big rip to 228, and it didn't just dump on off. It's pulling back into a pretty valid level of support. Not only was that level validated last night in post-market, not only is 170 being validated as support in pre-market, but it's a valid level coming from the daily chart, right? It's our most recent spiking high from April 14th. So we're above that level, and now we can see we're trying to hold that level as support. So with CRXT, guys, as long as it stays above 170, this thing has potential back up to 210 and then 228 here on CRXT. And the reason I like this as well, not only is it the low float stock with good volume and it has good technicals in pre-market, but it has a lot of room to the upside. So much room to the upside. If we break over that 210, 228 level, what's your next target on the stock? I mean, right there around $3, up towards around 330. If it breaks 330, where could we see it go? Look at all these lows on the daily chart. I mean, it does have potential to get to $4. This thing could rip and run. This thing could be our top gaining stock today. Has a decent press release. It has yet to really get the focus and the attention from traders. It's the lowest float stock. If this is the stock that traders start landing on, we know it could rip and run because it's a low float stock. And it's not just overdone right now. It's not the stock that's leading the board, but it's one of those stocks that do have potential to possibly lead the board. So think of it as a low float sleeper play, right? Not really doing a lot right now. There's not a lot of activity. There's not a lot of interest from traders, but this is one of those stocks that can definitely creep and kind of just slide under everybody's scanners and everybody's radar. And this could be that top gaining stock. We have the news, nice low float. We have good volume, and I definitely think we could see this thing take on off a little bit more today. As long as we're staying above 170, we have good potential to 210, 228, and then up to around $3. So I would say CRXT should be a top stock to watch. Now, these are officially the back burners, right? WWR is a back burner stock at this point in time. So they're going to break ground to set up a $202 million graphite plant in Alabama. So WWR has decent news. WWR right now is up 11%. It's trading 2 times the average volume, and it is a low float stock, right? It's 40 million in float. So we know this stock could move today, but I'm not a fan of just the price action. I mean, look at all these candles, right? Very choppy, all over the place. False breakout, false breakout, false breakout. It's not clean. It's not consistent. It's a very choppy stock, and it's safe to say that it's probably going to be choppy today. That's why it's a back burner at this point in time. Now, if it does start breaking and it does start looking pretty good and it cleans itself up and there's opportunity, we know why it's moving. We know the news. We know the flow. We know the volume it's trading, right? We're getting prepared. We know where we could see the stock go. Right? If we break $2, we could see it up towards around 228 and 240. We break over that 240 to 250, you could see it up at 291. So we know exactly where we could see the stock go. We know exactly where support is at this point in time. But when we really look at what this has done this morning and last night, it's not the best looking stock from a technical standpoint. That's why it's a back burner. Because right now, I don't think it's the top stock to be watching right out of the gate, right? WINT, definitely better opportunity. CRXT, even better opportunity. Shoot, CASA for the mid candle, much better opportunity. But right now, it's worth adding to your watch list as a back burner stock. And if it does set up and there is opportunity, we will get prepared and we'll make it happen. Another back burner stock is going to be NAVB, right? So NAVB has news as well. They're announcing positive preliminary results of its ongoing phase 2 study And that's the news, right? Announcing preliminary phase 2 study results here on NAVB. NAVB at one point was actually leading the board, right? There was a lot of interest around this. They're starting to move up pretty aggressively from around 93 cents at one point up towards around 118. But since then, we gave a lot back. We're up 7%. It's a low float stock, but look at the volume, right? We're not trading aggressive volume, right? We're trading great volume on CRXT. We're trading great volume on IO, ALVR. You know, this stock has good news. The stock's a low float. It could rip, it could run, it could be a top gaining stock, but right now we can clearly see that there's no focus and there's no activity with the stock. There's no volume. So right now, light support at $1, right? If we can hold above $1 and we see some buyers step on in and we get that volume and the thing's setting up, yeah, we could see it up towards around 124 on NAVB. And we were looking at this one yesterday as well. And it just kind of chopped around $1. Right now, it's kind of chopping around $1. I don't know how crazy I am about this, but if it sets up, we are prepared and we know where we could see this stock go. All right, so there is news, low float. We just don't have the volume, but let's see if that changes at some point today, and let's see if NAVB gives us any opportunity to lock in some profits. And then we have ARCT. I'm not even going to be watching this. ARCT had news this morning. Says its COVID-19 mRNA vaccine candidate meets primary endpoints in phase 3 trials. So they actually met their primary endpoints. That's a good press release. The stock popped from 25 to 32 and then just gave everything back. That press release was not bad. I think we just had a lot of selling and that caused some panic and it's just been dropping on off. So with that being said, I want to keep ARCT on watch. Back burner at this point in time, but we are coming back down towards around these daily lows. Look at that beautiful daily double bottom reversal. We see that 1746 is a very strong level of support. So if we see this open and drop down to 1746, we could see a beautiful dip buy, and that could be that level that we move higher off of today. So I know right now you're like, why would we be watching the stock? It gave everything back. The news is good. The float is low. You're right at a strong level of support, and there is so much potential to the upside. Back above 20, shoot, you can see $25 on ARCT today. So don't forget about ARCT. I know it doesn't look the best right now, but I think it could be one of those lower float sleeper plays that just start moving on up after a little bit of this overreaction from sellers this morning in pre-market. All right, guys, so let's just recap one last time. Top stocks. Let's go ahead and bring these down to the very bottom of the watch list and mark those in blue so we know exactly what stocks we think have the best potential for today out of the gate. Definitely IO. It's safe to say we all agree IO is a great candidate to be one of our top stocks. It's safe to say that ALVR is definitely a stock that's a top candidate, right? Good news, low float, great volume, starting to move on up here. Definitely want to keep the stock on high watch. CRXT, same thing, above 170, guys. This thing has a lot of great potential. WINT, kind of chopping around a little bit, but if we can break and hold and stay above 138, you have room to 158. There's definitely potential here to lock in some profits. Definitely a decent looking stock. And then CASA, probably my favorite at this point in time, right out of the gate, for that possible mid-candle breakout, multi-day symmetrical triangle squeeze formation to really get this thing going. So what I would say is we start breaking that downtrend right around $6.70 on CASA. That's where I would expect to see that volume really start to move on in. And you could safely place a stop loss below $6.50, maybe $6.40 if you can risk all the way down to 640. But looking at the big picture, even if you got an entry at 670, risking 30 cents, you do have potential to make 60 cents plus because we know what to expect with a proper mid-candle breakout. Proper mid-candle breakouts break over the first green day high and they trend and they move higher. So where could we see CASA go, right? Well, we could see it up towards around $7.58 and then up towards around $8.30. So definitely one of the top stocks I think we should be watching right out of the gate today, CASA, right? But let's see what you guys are thinking inside of chat, right? What stock do you think will do the best today? Hi, how you feeling? So you think it's going to be IO? And if you guys are on YouTube, go ahead and just type up what stock you think is going to be the best stock for today. Do you think it's going to be CRXT? How you feeling, sweetie? Good. You feel better? I'm glad you feel better. You scared me last night. So IO, ALVR, CRXT, WINT, or CASE. I just added a poll inside of chat. Actually, no, I did not, because I just got logged out of chat. So let me go ahead and get logged back in real quick. And let's go ahead and try and resend that poll and see if it goes through. Poll added. Fantastic. So you guys just saw a poll pop on up. Go ahead and cast your votes. What stock do you think will do the best today? Do you think it's going to be IO, ALVR, CRXT, WINT, or CASE? Go ahead and cast your votes, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see what you guys are thinking as far as our top stock of the day. Got about 50 seconds to go, so make sure you're casting those beautiful votes, you beautiful sons of ladies and gentlemen. And I don't want to see ties. I don't want to see ties. I want to see everybody just land on one stock. All right, so cast your votes. 33 seconds to go. Let's get prepared. Scanners are now live. We are all set, ready to rock. Off to the side, watching CASA. And then I would say the stock that I think has the best potential out of the gate following CASA, believe it or not, I think ARCT has potential if we come down and bounce off that 1746. I'll be watching ARCT for that dip down towards around that 1746. But out of the gate, let's go with IO, because I think a lot of you guys said IO. Yep, we got 23% of chat saying IO, and then the rest of chat saying CRXT, and I do like CRXT as well. So it's between those two stocks, guys. All right, let's have some fun. Let's get fired up. Let's make it happen. And let's lock in some consistent profits, guys. So right now, what's IO up to? IO still just kind of flagging out of pre-market. So I mean, this is a nice little flag out of pre-market. And if we start breaking out of this flag from pre-market, that would be a good gap and go strategy. And you can see it just right up to 86, up to $1. Again, support right now is 69 cents on IO. CRXT was the #1 pick right off that 170. One of those sleeper plays that just had so much potential was CRXT. So I hope you guys grabbed it at 170, 175, 180. Hopefully you guys were able to get involved here with CRXT, because out of the gate, this thing is just taken on off. So what do we need to do? We need to wait for the stock to pull back, right? The stock already went from 187 to 210. It already hit that first target. Again, the stock's up way too much. We need to sit back and wait for this stock to pull back. CASA is on high watch. It's getting some action here, guys. CASA, high watch. It's getting action. If it starts breaking that downtrend above 670, this thing could really start taking on off, guys. So CASA right now is getting some action, and it's trying to make a move here. Let's see if it can stay above 650. See if it can get that break above that 670 and start working for that mid-candle breakout, as well as that big squeeze formation that we identified from Monday. So right now it is pretty active. That level 2 is moving, and let's see if we can start to get some hype here over on CASA. So I am watching CASA off to the side because if this thing starts breaking, we all know that this thing could start really taking on off and going on a nice little move to the upside. So I'd like to see if it can stay above that 650 level on CASA and get a nice little break over 670 on CASA. And that's where I think this thing could really start moving and really start taking on off. Look at that big dump on CRXT, guys. Massive little drop there. Right up to that 210, back down to 190. So big old 20-cent drop there on CRXT. So kind of sit back and wait to see where that's going to come on down to. Right now, it could pull back to that 170 level. Again, 170 is a good level of support. Let's go throw CASA up here, guys, because CASA is active. CASA is active. CASA, we start breaking that 668, 670, breaking that downtrend out of the squeeze formation. That's going to help that mid-candle breakout get going. We could see it up at 690 and then up towards around 716 here on CASA. Stops would be below low a day of 642 on CASA. So right now, I want to see if we get that volume, see if we get a nice little pop through that 668, 670 level. That would make me feel pretty good that we could start to see that good action move in up to that 690 and that 710 mark here on CASA. Right now, it's a little choppy, a little all over the place, but it is moving. That's the thing. It is moving. We have volume, and that tells me that traders are here looking to see if we can get this thing going. CASA is starting to give a lot back right here, guys. CASA is starting to dump on off here. Right below that trend line, failed move. Let's just see if it bounces back up with a strong close. If it does, maybe. But yeah, right now, that's a pretty nasty dumparooski right there over on CASA. This thing is getting just absolutely tanked to the downside. And that'll probably get halted to the downside at this pace. So again, what did we say? A lot of stocks that are setting up decent, they fail. I mean, CASA was a decent setup. It definitely showed potential, and then just massive rug pull. And we've been seeing a lot of these rug pulls lately in the market, guys, haven't we not? That's what we said this morning. A lot of decent setups doing what? Rug pulls, nasty drops, nasty little dumps on off. Right? So we just got to be very smart and mindful about what setups we're taking and how we take them. So right now, you do have ALVR trying to get a move on up, but there's a lot of resistance on this stock. I mean, every time it tries to break, it just gets slammed down, slammed down, slammed down. I mean, look at all these upper shadows on ALVR. I mean, I would not want to go long seeing all of these upper shadows. Anytime it tries to make a move on up and break, it gets slammed on down. Tries to make a move on up and break, it gets slammed on down. We see that there's a lot of selling pressure here on ALVR, so I would not be touching that right now at this point in time. CRXT, no reason to get involved. WINT, no reason to get involved. CASA, no reason to get involved. IO, IO not looking bad though. Over 86 cents. We have room to $1. Right now support is back down around that 69-cent level. And I'd really like to see ARCT fail and dump down to that 1746 level. If we can just fail here and just dump on down and then start to bounce, I would like that. I think that'd be good for ARCT. Right now, you know, no reason to buy ARCT right now, right here. CASA is still just dumping on off here, guys. No reason to get involved. WINT, nothing. CRXT, nothing. Now ALVR is getting that pop. This was my trade from pre-market too. That it just chopping around too much. I didn't like it. Wasn't too confident. Now we're starting to squeeze here, looking like we're getting halted to the upside. So ALVR, first stock to halt on the day on ALVR. But my goodness, I would have never taken that trade. Ever. And you guys like, why? The thing went from 7 to 780. Why wouldn't you jump in? Why wouldn't you take that trade? Look at all those freaking upper shadows. Nasty, 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 nasty. Dumps on down, pops on up, nasty, and then it explodes, right? I would have never been long ALVR. Seeing all those upper shadows, count me out, right? Count me out. That's just asking to get dumped on. And we saw it, right? Upper shadow, upper shadow, upper shadow, and then right on down to that 675, and then boom, big time move. We've been seeing a lot of that price action, a lot of failed attempts, right? Big dumps, and then the quick rebound. So knowing that's how the market's moving, we play and trade with what the market's giving us. So we got about 5 minutes until ALVR goes live. And other than that, kind of just doing a scan across the board. There's nothing else really. Got IO on watch. But other than that, you know, CRXT still dumping on off. WINT, no reason there. CASA still giving a lot back. But now we have ARCT, guys. So I do want to put some focus here on ARCT at this point in time. If ARCT drops right to that 1740, 1750 level, I will take this for a dip buy. So this is my next opportunity that I see is going to be on ARCT. So let's do this. ARCT off to the side. If this thing just starts dropping into that 1750 level, I will look to take this for a nice little dip buy on ARCT. All right, so Cole saying ALVR will be unhalted at 944.19. So definitely watch ALVR. ARCT, you guys know what I'm looking at here. I'm looking for that big, nasty dump on off, right? Just get hit hard to the downside. The faster, the better. Right into our 1750 level. I will look to take this for a nice little dip buy on ARCT. Give yourself a nice little range, all right? Give yourself a window. And your window may be large, right? You could see the dip at 1696. We could see it right here off that 1746. So give yourself a little bit of a window. If you see the price dropping quick into this level, that's where you could definitely look to take a dip buy. And I would have stops below that low, right? I mean, beautiful double bottom reversal on the daily. So we can see that that is very strong support. So I would believe if we dump just straight down another $2 to the downside, you'll probably see a dip. You'll probably see it bounce on up substantially, $1, $1.50 maybe. So we can get nice low entries, stops right underneath that daily low of 17, and then try and get a nice little 50 cent to $1 dip here out of ARCT. So that's what I'm looking at here on ARCT. If we see that take place, I am a buyer between 17 and 1750 for a dip buy. stops would be right under $17, and we'd be trying to catch about $1, maybe 50 cents to $1 off that dip buy opportunity. IO starting to roll on over, kind of getting hit hard to the downside. ALVR will be live in about a minute. CRTX giving everything back. WINT not looking good. CASA not looking good. NAVB nothing there. WWR nothing there. ATER nothing there. Yeah, guys. I mean, there's just not a lot happening right now at this point in time. Yeah, the Qs are dropping pretty nice too. I mean, really nice rejection off resistance on the Qs, guys. Why are we starting to see this pull back? Well, I mean, we are hitting that 50 SMA. So you would expect to see, after a big green day like this, right into that 50 SMA, a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a drop. So we should be live here right now. We are live ALVR at this point in time. 749 dip buy on ALVR. So ALVR, I like dip buys on very volatile stocks. So if I can get my fat fingers out of the way and look for that 1750 dip buy, I would take that 1750 dip buy. What's the halt level? Halt down 719, plenty of room. Plenty of room. So I'm not worried about getting stuck in a hole. But if we see a big, nasty red candle just dump right into that spiking high at 749, I would consider a dip buy with about 10 cents of risk here on ALVR. I mean, it's got to just get smacked right to that 750 level. I mean, just drop straight down to 750. The faster, the better. No premature bounces. Just get smacked. And catch a decent little dip buy out of it. I mean, risking about 10 cents. You know, if you get filled at 749 and you see it 740, you know, just go ahead and walk away from it. It has potential to fall back down to 720 on ALVR. You do have ARCT rolling on over. I'm definitely getting ready for a possible dip buy on ARCT. So I'm looking at both, right? I'm looking for a possible dip buy on ALVR off the pre-market high of 749. I'm also looking for the dip buy on ARCT, right now coming on up, ARCT, off of that really nice daily double bottom low, right around $17.50. I mean, this stock has a lot of great potential, especially if it just goes straight down into that 17 to 17.50 level. I mean, just straight down, right? We could absolutely see that bounce on back up. So right now it's between ARCT and ALVR, but both of these, especially ARCT, would be a dip buy opportunity. With ALVR, it's not falling fast enough to be a dip buy. We'd be more or less looking for a break and retest, right? Kind of the same approach, but different criteria, right? For dip buys, we want to see straight down into support, followed by the bounce. On these breaks and these slow pullbacks, these are the break and retest, right? So we just broke 749 pre-market high, pulling back on decreased volume. We could definitely see this hold on up and get that nice little rebound. This is a break followed by a retest, right? You're also retesting the 9 EMA. So not only is it the pre-market high, it's also the 9 EMA. So where would you put stops? I mean, shoot, 740, right? 740, right? If it comes down and it holds this level and you start to see it bounce on up and you're in, put your stops underneath the pullback low, underneath that level of support, 740. Where's your target? $8, $8.13. Definitely good risk reward there. Nice, nice. A quick 91 on the small account for Mr. Corey. Nice, dude. Nice. I love it. Stir, shorted the Qs. Nice. Looks like Corey shorted some Qs as well. Good job, guys. Coming in, making some quick profits. Oh, man. All right, guys, on YouTube, it is that time. We did our free stream yesterday. We had some fun. We made it happen. We had some nice quick wins out of the gate as well. But again, we do one of those per week. So enjoy the rest of your trading day, ladies and gentlemen, over on the tube. Be smart, trade safe, wait for the best of the best setups in the market. There's a couple good ones. You had your quick break and your retest. You could have been scalping that along the way up, taking some profits, bringing stops to break even. You could be in a running position, right? Be in a position where you have a runner on the table, but could have locked in a couple dollars on ALVR. That was a quick trade that happened very, very fast. But the best one was CRXT in pre-market. I'm like, guys, I really like this above 170, up to 210, and then boom, before you know it, starts moving on up, right up to 210. And we actually had some traders in chat locking some profits on CRXT. So good job on that team. Fantastic job. So stocks to continue to watch. IO, not looking the best, but we're watching it. ALVR starting to fall below that 750, but we're still watching it. CRXT above 170 is still in play. WINT starting to give a lot back, has room down to 115. And then CASA, the failed mid-candle breakout, but we'll still keep it on watch. But I do like ARCT. If we see this just dump to that 17 to 1750 level, I am, full disclosure, full transparency, going to take this for a dip buy between 17 and 1750. I expect about 50 cents to $1 out of this. And if we fall below 17, I'm out. So that's my next opportunity that I see that I would like to take, would be on ARCT, right? NAVB, it's doing nothing. WWR, nothing right now. ATER is pulling back like we thought. So that's really what we have, guys, right? IO, no entries here, but still on watch. ALVR, support could be down here off that 720 resistance before the breakout. So we'll be watching this down towards around that 720 level here on ALVR. CRXT above 170, see if it sets up. WINT is giving a lot back right now. And CASA not looking the best either at this point in time. So again, top three stocks, IO, ALVR, and CRXT, followed by our back burner, ARCT, for this possible dip buy between that 17 and 1750. Enjoy the rest of your day. Trade smart, trade safe, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning, right at 9 a.m. Nice. We got a 240.91 ASIF. Good job. Nice $200 profit. That's what I'm talking about. Way to come in. Way to identify your opportunities. Way to make it happen, guys. That's what I'm talking about. I know, right, Chris? There's the rug pull, predictable. I mean, I know. I mean, hitting that on the head this morning. Good setups, rug pull. Decent setup, rug pull. I mean, just, you got to be quick to take profits. You see a good entry, a break and a retest, and you're in, and you start to see a bounce. Start taking profits. Start scaling out. Lock in some cheddar, guys, right? Because before you know it, your green trade turns into a red trade. Lock in your baby profits. Those baby profits add up if you do the right thing. You see a good trade, take it. Get out, right? Starts dumping, make sure you're out. What did we say? These false moves? Look to short the false moves. That's a strategy. That's how you trade with the market, what the market's giving you. We see a lot of decent setups that start to work and then they fail and dump on off. You could look to short the failed break of a good setup. That's one way of doing it. Or you can scalp the setup before it fails and before it dumps. But you got to be quick. Either way you trade, you got to be quick. The market's definitely not a buy here, hold it for 20 minutes, take some profits, ride a little bit more to the moon, right? The market's not hot like that right now. Again, this is a scalper's paradise. There's quick moves, fast, but you got to be in, you got to get out quick and lock in those profits before those trades go south. So right now, you got a little bit of that little squeeze formation going on CRXT on a 1 minute. Not too credible, but I mean, we could definitely start to see it rock on back up. It could be the start of a slight inverse head and shoulders formation with this 1 minute 9 EMA VWAP squeeze. But again, we know the 9 EMA VWAP squeezes are the best on 5 minute time frames. Minimum 3, right? But at least a 3 to 5 time frame for those moving average squeezes, or I'm sorry, the VWAP moving average squeeze. So not too credible on a 1 minute time frame, but it's definitely worth watching as you kind of see that attempted reversal here on CRXT. So still watching ALVR for a good setup. I highly doubt CASA does anything today. I mean, are we missing anything? I mean, all the stocks that we're looking at are the top stocks of the day. I mean, you have BPTS. It's up 25%. It's only trading 57,000 shares at this point in time. WINT, we've already looked at it. CRXT, we know what's going on. ALVR, IO, I mean, BPTS, I mean, it is moving on up, but I mean, there's just no volume on the stock whatsoever. So on ALVR, you guys are long on this. Okay, where do you want to take some profits next? Right around 850, right? If it starts ripping again, starts moving on up, right around $8.50. Here on ALVR is a good level of resistance, and then up towards around 930. Support right now is back down at 720. That's a decent little level of support, back down at $7.20 here on ALVR. And right now you have this really ugly downtrend. So I don't really see a whole lot going on here with ALVR as far as, you know, making a trade right now at this point in time. Really just still sitting back. And we're 25 minutes in. You know, looking at ALVR in hindsight, I mean, I don't know why I'd be buying that stock with all those upper shadows at 720. I would have just sat back and watched, and it ripped, it ran. But again, looking at it in hindsight, I mean, all those upper shadows did concern me. Why'd I be getting in at resistance when it's already tried to break 5 times and it failed every single freaking time? So ALVR was a great trade. It's just I don't see a reason as to why we would have been in this stock. But CRXT was beautiful, off 170 to that 210. That wasn't bad. IO really didn't do too much. I mean, IO hit that 86 cent level, but again, there was no reason to really jump on this one out of the gate. So the only trade that was worth it, and that was a pre-market trade, was CRXT into the open. But other than that, it's just kind of slow right now. Choppy, slow, not a lot of great action. You got ALVR moving, but again, you already got one pretty nice rug pull. What do you think's going to happen? Next good setup, you may see it try and play out, but be mindful that you may see a rug pull follow through and pull the stock down even lower.